with the laws guiding the extradition of suspects. That was what the Beninese government actually did. So yeah, it's not a question of saying Beninese government, Beninese police. Interpol is not an independent national police. It's not independent. Okay. You have sections that deal with it. So it was Interpol, the federal government can only contact if the federal government wants to get, wants to get a criminal in Cameroon, what they need to do is to ask the Interpol section of Nigerian police to contact the Interpol section of that country, or contact the Interpol global branch, who will now investigate the reason and issue red alerts to all countries, okay, from which point they will now track the person up and get the person. So it was actually Interpol that arrested him and handed him over. And the process of what they're doing is what is supposed to be the case in extradition. But like the case of Nnamdi Kanu, the extradition treaty extradition treaty of 1984 between Nigeria, that involved Nigeria, Togo, Benin, and Ghana, also excluded any agitation on political ground. Any agitation that is politically, directed is not subject to extradition. So under that agreement and under other extant extradition agreements and laws, no political agitation, no person accused of political agitation can be subjected to extradition. And that was why the federal government, in the accusation against Igboho, was trying to infuse the idea of arms, importation of arms, just as they tried to link that of Nnamdi Kanu to Al-Shabaab terrorism. Importation of arms, because there is ECOWAS convention on the limitation of small arms movements. Is also a case extraditable, because it's against international law. Terrorism is also against international law. So why in the Kenyan case, they try to connect Nnamdi Kanu with Al-Shabaab terrorism. In the case of Igboho, they try to connect him with small arm importation into the country, which is also extraditable. Okay. But it is now left with the legal system, with the court, with the Beninese court, to decide on which basis federal government, which is the real basis, the true basis for the demand for Nnamdi Kanu's, for Igboho's extradition. If they are, yes, if they are satisfied that it has nothing, that it is politically motivated, they will leave him. That
okay, so now that the Nigerian government is trying to follow due process with the Sunday Igboho case, what do you think is likely to happen in his case? Do you think that Nigerian government would actually be able to get the Beninese government to extradite him back to Nigeria?
No, the point is that the Nigerian government did not actually plan formal, legal processes. They never planned it. They actually wanted to pick Igboho the way Nnamdi Kanu was picked, but luck ran, against them, because the idea, according to information, a helicopter was already there for him to be picked up, and there was a diplomatic crawl with, in which Nigeria, yes, it was actually the intervention of other people.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Remember that
I can hear you
why Sunday was picked up, the allegation was that he was trying to flee to Germany under a fake passport. But remember that the 1951 convention has said that if someone is trying to seek asylum, even under a fake passport, because the person is running for his or her life, such a case is dismissed. So do you think the Nigerian government actually have a leg to stand on if that is the allegation they are going for? Did you get my question?
The point is that the United Nations Convention call on on Refugees, 1951, Section 33, subsection 1, Section 33, subsection clearly stated that no person seeking asylum or already of refugee status can be extradited back to his, to the country of his origin against his wish, against his wishes. It is very, very clear. Awesome. If Sunday Igboho had entered Benin Republic and reported this and reported to the authorities at the border, or even after the border, and go to the immigration and told them, look, I am here for asylum, definitely the federal government will not have any authority to execute. But he has not done that yet. He did not do that. He was only trying to, he was trying to. Yeah, he was only trying to leave. Yes. If he had come, exactly. Yes. So do you think Nigeria can still get him now? Because he's not yet Nigeria. Yes, for now, his extradition is dependent on the provisions, on external provisions of extradition agreement between Nigeria and Benin. And of course, which will now, strike a balance between, the political character of his offense and the criminal character of the supposed offense advanced by the federal government. Okay, this is just the balance that will come in. Yes. Our time is fast spent. I can see Elder Tango raising up his hand. Let's get his comments before we close for the day. Elder Tango. Elder Gochuku. Can you hear me? Elder Gochuku, I can see your hands up. Please, if you are here, kindly respond before we close for today. Okay, I can also see Marcel's hands up. While we are waiting for Elder Tango, Marcel, the floor is yours. Briefly, because our time is
okay. Before we leave, it is important we get these facts clear. This extradition and all those processes can only happen if there is a case of international crime against humanity, genocide, and all those stuff. So just like our respectable professor has said, the case of Nnamdi Kanu, unless the government can prove that he is involved in a crime against humanity, genocide, and all that, otherwise it's just be seen as a political persecution and nobody will take it serious. It's important we understand this difference.
Okay, because the United Kingdom have already made it known that they are willing to give asylum to other members of the IPOB if it is in fact Nigerian government persecuting them. I think this was an statement that they released recently. But let's hear from Elder Tango. Elder Tango, your hand is still up. If we do not hear from you, we would have to close.
Yes, you're with me. I've been speaking for a long time, but you.
Yeah, go ahead, ask your question, sir.
Okay. So, Sunday, Igboho and the Nnamdi Kanu, on condition of the arrest now, have some similar issue, a similar case. Nnamdi Kanu was prepared to go to court, and his house was attacked. Are you hearing me?
Yes, you can. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Nnamdi Kanu escaped death, but run for his life. The same thing occurred to Sunday Igboho. Sunday Igboho escaped death. He has evidence that he was attacked is there. In asylum issue all over the world, if you have any proof that your life is in danger, your asylum must be granted. And there is extradite an asylum seeker. There must be a proof of this terrorism or serious proof that justifies extradition, which these people didn't follow up. There's many people all over the world, many Russians are still in Britain. All over the world, there's many asylum seekers. People have similar cases, people who prove their case. But what will happen in Cotonou about Sunday Igboho is there's a lot of differences between Sunday Igboho and Nnamdi Kanu. Cotonou's are Yorubas, mind you. Language barrier, information I got from Cotonou, my personal information, that it was language that saved Sunday Igboho. You know, these people speak the same language. It was language that contributed, knowing that the plan was to pick him at the airport and take him away. unnoticed. But the language saved him, and the Sunday Igboho plan, in case he didn't go, people were there knowing that he's there. People were there knowing that when it happened, they raised their alarm that made Cotonou. Now, what remains now is that Nigeria is a big brother to Cotonou, a big country. Cotonou is a small country to Nigeria. Yorubas are already 60% or 70%. They're all Cotonous. The same language, the same intermarriage, the same everything. So the problem even now, do we give our brother away, or do we do this? Some people may not be able, the Venus may not allow Nigeria to take Sunday Igboho. That's my own point. And the issue, they didn't, as Doctor has said, these people didn't plan the legality part of it. Yeah, the Nigerian government didn't plan to do it in normal procedure. They plan to just pick him up and send him back to Nigeria. So Sunday Igboho has chance because his life is in danger. And even Nnamdi Kanu, if we or people, Nnamdi Kanu lawyers, first of all, if they want to give Nnamdi Kanu a chance of survival, let's treat condition of his face. Yeah, what warrant his escape first? What makes him leave the country? Because the question, passport or no passport, is no issue. No country can prove any passport illegal. If I came to Nigeria now with a German passport, Nigerian government cannot say German passport is illegal. If the owner of the passport will say it's illegal, the same thing occurs. So if Nnamdi Kanu is arrested with Nigerian passport in Kenya, then they send the passport to Nigeria. But if it's a British passport, they have the error start. They will send to British, knowing that Nnamdi Kanu is it illegal or not. So the problem we have is really everything is dicey now. The system is being crooked because crooked part of it is that the only after picking Nnamdi Kanu up, picking Sunday Igboho up, feeling is the way to end the struggle. But when the system does not stop, everything continues like that. That's my own take. Thank you.
Okay.
If I may ask the Dr. Mwezigwe this question, because the problem of Nnamdi Kanu traveling with UK passport has arisen severally. What does he think the United Kingdom government will do in this instance, now that it has been established that the abduction of Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya did not follow due process? What, setting emotion aside or whatever, what could the United Kingdom government do in this instance?
The point is that there are two issues to the point. There are two matters. First is the diplomatic aspect, which is actually what which is actually what the United Kingdom government will take. But the criminal aspect, the best United Kingdom can do is to offer Nnamdi Kanu legal advice or legal aid. Because the fact that he was abducted did not, invalidate the fact of the offense he is facing in Nigeria. There are two different things. And no diplomatic row between Nigeria and Great Britain or Kenya and Great Britain will invalidate the case in which he's being tried on. So there are two different things. One is, yes, his life, yes, that's just the position. Yes.
Okay, just before we go, let's take this last comment, and that is going to mark the end of today's show. Mazi Okoye, if you're here.
Oh, thank you. I think the issue of Nnamdi Kanu and Sunday Igboho is a bit more complicated than we tend to see it, because in the eyes of the UK government, IPOB is not a political organization, but a privately owned business registered here as a limited company. And the owner of this business broadcasts every day, every evening, calling on violence on a sovereign state.
Yeah.
And Sunday Igboho as well. never registered a political organization anywhere. So when people say that the issue is about political persecution, we have to define what is political persecution, because you have to be involved in politics. You have to be registered. You have to join, or at least have a front of a registered political organization to bear that name or to go by that route. So when people say that because it's a political persecution, that it is legal for Kenya to hand over Kanu to Nigeria, I think it's totally wrong, because in the eyes of the world, international community, IPOB nowhere is registered as a political organization. It was registered as a privately limited company here in the United Kingdom, and its source of income is still questionable in terms of their operations and in terms of the evidence which abounds everywhere. The way Kanu speaks about, kill police people, kill this person, kill the other person, burn them alive, and the rest of it. And Sunday Igboho as well has taken that route in terms of violence without actually registering a political organization. If you register a political organization, then you have a stand in terms of political persecution. But when you haven't done so, then it becomes difficult when you get entangled as a criminal to answer for political organization. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And that brings us to the end of today's exclusive interview. We have been talking about Nnamdi Kanu and Sunday Igboho, the legal and political implication of asylum and extradition in Africa, with particular reference to self-determination struggles. And if you can take your time, it's 8 o'clock right now, and that means we are going to our next topic. For now, we see that we have 7,860 reported deaths due to insecurity from June 2020, from June 2011 to June 2021. So please join us as we continue the informal, heart-to-heart, and unrecorded conversation tonight, titled "Saving Nigerians from Nigeria." And of course, if you can look, I'm going to put it to the chat right now. We see that from the southwest, just from insecurity alone, we have over 3,534 deaths. From the southeast, we have 3,020 deaths. From the south-south, we have 5,710 deaths. Northwest, we have 12,743 deaths. Northeast, 44,247 deaths. And North Central, we have 10,119 deaths. Now our topic is saving Nigerians from Nigerians, and we are looking at the insecurity in Nigeria. But before we go fully into this topic, I can see some hands up. Elder Tango, I think you want to say something.
I raised my hand up, but the topic has changed. But I want to address Mr. Koye, but not now. I will continue. The new topic I joined, insecurity, is that I will drop his comment because I've placed this request many times, but I won't go on with it now because we have changed topic.
Okay, this topic about insecurity is not simply about talking about rehashing the problem. We have presented the deaths happening. The question is, how can you save Nigerians from Nigeria?
How can we save Nigeria is very simple. It's the mindset of the leadership. If you have the real leadership, it's very easy. We all need a good country. Everybody needs something to be good, but the leadership is the problem. Everybody knows, but people are afraid to say the truth. If the leaders are the people who really love the country, they will do the right thing. Like now, a question of this is security. I mean, police, everything, even the system of recruitment, the system of police force, everything is in a wrong foundation. Look at service shifts. security issues of the country, one-sided. So everything, the foundation is very rough on a polluted foundation. So even before Buhari became head of state, he said any attack on Boko Haram is attack on the north. And such a person was allowed to win an election and become head of state. It's what we're suffering now. And me and you, ordinary person, who is not in power, who is not armed, cannot do any otherwise. They cannot do anything for the security issue. Because people who hold the security is the government, they control the fund, they have the federal might and the federal power. So it's very simple. If really the government can listen, they do the right thing. If they don't listen,
hello, Elder Tango, screen is frozen. Okay.
If they're tired of the system, they can even voluntarily resign. The people that will do the job will come. It's okay. So that's no solution to it.
Okay, so I can see. Okay, I can see our guest hand is still up. Dr. Soni, the floor is yours. Dr. Soni. Hello, Dr. Soni. If you're not here, please, Eze Elusier, please go ahead. We are talking about saving Nigeria from Nigerians. And we have already given you some data about the deaths that have occurred from 2011. Present day, Eze Elusier, please go ahead. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. It's an interesting topic. The way to save Nigeria from Nigerians lies in amending or even totally changing the constitution of Nigeria, the national constitution. Because that is the framework upon which Nigeria is based. We have a constitution that is tying us down, that is even killing us. So the best way to change Nigeria is to go back to the drawing board for the constituent peoples of Nigeria to decide amongst themselves, do we want to continue being Nigerians? And once we decide that we want to continue being Nigerians, under what frameworks, under what parameters? At 200 million population, Nigeria is more than almost half of Europe. So we can afford to balkanize Nigeria into as many countries as possible if that is what it will take to save Nigerians from Nigeria. Presently, we are in a contraption that is killing us. So the best way out of Nigeria, let me not belabor, but it's just a very simple solution. We go back to the constitution, decide whether we want to continue as a country or as different entities. And there is this scrap talk that the unity of Nigeria is not negotiable, must be stopped. Because if the cost of this unity is the life of millions of Nigerians, then it's not worth it. So the way to save Nigeria from Nigeria is to go back to the drawing board, ask the constituent peoples of Nigeria very pertinent questions. Do we want to continue as a country? If the answer is yes, then you go to the next level. Under what frameworks? If the answer is no, and we have to be open, we have to open our minds to this. If the answer is no, then for goodness sake, we can all go our separate ways and we will remain neighbors. Look at examples like Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia, before, when they wanted it, they were a cantankerous people. But now Slovenia, Macedonia, Croatia, they are all coexisting and trading peacefully. Likewise, Russia. Russia has broken up to 14 different countries. So we should not be afraid of saying, okay, we erred, we made mistakes. Now, for the sake of keeping Nigerians alive, let us restructure this country, renegotiate it, and have a new framework. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now remember that even in the provision of the Constitution, the problem is not necessarily the Constitution according to some school of thought. Some school of thought will argue with you that the problem is the implementation of the provisions already allowed by the Constitution. Now, even if we champion balkanization, secession, and everybody go your different ways, what is the guarantee that we would actually become a better people when we divide among ethnicity? Hello? Did you hear me? Okay, I do not think he
Yes,
did.
I
But let's
did.
go
I
for it.
did.
Allow him to
Now,
come back.
the fact is our present any better for us? I mean, if the present is not working out, the worst we can do is a change in the narrative, seek the alternatives. And is it going to work for us? Yes, it will. Yes, it will. And I'm very, very emphatic on that. Because the peoples know themselves, they know how to relate themselves, they know how to police themselves. Let me give you a critical example. In the Southeast, in the Igbo areas, we have communal structures, we have town unions that can pick out criminals and deal with them. But because we have a system whereby the commissioner of police is appointed from Abuja, somebody who doesn't even know the terrain, he comes in, and then these criminals become even the leaders in the communities because they have the security, they have the police behind them. And likewise in the north, in the southwest, the Yorubas have a way of dealing with criminal elements in their society. But because we have a structure that makes it impossible for them to do what they should to right their societies, we are stuck with having to rely on a system that is jaundiced, that is prejudiced against people, and that is not working. I mean, it's simply not working. When we had regionalism, it was far better for everybody. But when you keep on saying we must stay together, for what reason? Is it for the killings to continue? Is it for the cries of marginalization to continue? Let us be serious with ourselves. I mean, some of us are in our 50s and we've been having this cry of marginalization for the past 50 years. For how long will this nonsense continue? And then those who are milking the system are milking the system. I mean, let us be serious. I mean, we are now at the stage where we are thinking of our own children. Will they continue with this dirge? Will they continue with these cries of being killed, of marginalization for how long? We've gone this route, we've gone this road for too long. Every time they try to alter the constitutions, amend sections, but the issue is not amendment, it's not piecemeal amendments. There must be a holistic restructuring of the contraption, which if it means to stay apart, we should not be afraid of it. There is no part of this country that cannot maintain a very good lifestyle when they are apart. Zamfara state that has so much gold deposits, or even all minerals all over this country. But because we are all looking at one direction, we think that everything must come from one area, then we are all lazy. Everybody's lazy looking at the oil sector. Kogi State has multiple minerals. Aquagum, the same thing. Kanu, the same thing. But because we're all looking at one source, then the whole thing is collapsed, even to the detriment of that single source. So let us not say, if we go apart, are we going to be better? We are going to be better. Thank you.
Sorry, Nneka, sorry, I have a question for Barrister Lucie. The essence of this second part of this discussion is not to rehash theories or to rehash our problems. I think majority of Nigerians support restructuring. Well, we don't have the statistics, but the problem is the National Assembly as it now stands and the leadership of the country as it now stands does not support the restructuring that you have just described. So the question is, within the confines of what we have, how can we here in this meeting save Nigerians from Nigeria? Because when we continue to have restructuring, we have been hearing this mantra for the past 50 years, and it hasn't happened. So where do we go from here? That's the question.
Okay, we have Otumba. Wait, Otumba, Otumba, please. Or does Eze, do you want to comment on this, or do we move on?
Of course. Thank you very much.
Comment on it. Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Listen to look, and then we can go back to Eze Lucie, please.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. I want to agree with everything Eze Lucie said. There's no way in a country where the constitution is so contracted there's no clarity. A constitution that gives so many exclusive links, a constitution that not make it possible for states to generate, to create, to do certain things that these people of that state need. We have a state where it have to be from the central. And this, the structure has created so many corruption, so many corrupt people. And Nigerian is just not moving forward. If you think because the change of government, the PDP to APC is the change you and I are looking for, then we need to do a lot of examination. Because people like us that live in a country that we see changes, how 40 years ago, how Mercedes-Benz looked like. From 1947, I was born 1947, and 1948, not from nowhere, NHS has grown to where it is today. That a country that pays 800 and something pounds every 2 months to maintain me in my medical care, and we have a big country that has more resources than this country we are talking about. And by the way, the question is, what is strong? What is strong with us that we cannot agree to restructuring? UK has 4 countries put together. They have their life, they have everything. Why are we insisting that we cannot agree to sit down on the round table and agree to reverting some of our areas to what we are doing in the 50s and 60s? Why are we afraid? Why do we have to take orders from the north all the time? Why do we have to live with the values that are not our values? A 13-year-old girl can have 4 children within 4 years.
Get back to you.
Enough. So we have so many things that are just not in common. And unfortunately, because we were merged together 100 and something years ago, and in that constitution, that merger agreement, it is clearly stated, sit down, review, rearrange, readdress, and redesign. Why are we running out from that fact? And is it because some of us are lost in their own right because they have access to God? What about the millions of our people? What future are we creating for our children? Are we all going to be here forever? It shows clearly how much love. And finally, have we sat ourselves down and asked, how is our conscience? Do we have conscience at all? Do we have conscience in the sense that we agree to certain aspects of life that is not supposed to be so? We don't do things the way things are done in Nigeria. We encourage a country called Nigeria to use a constitution that is not so very, very friendly. And that is my take. I believe we need to sit down. I agree with all what Izzy said. And I'm sorry every time I make reference to my age. I'm very proud to say that. At 74, I'm still great because it's because of the maintenance I get. It's because I can put 3 times food on my table. It's being paid for. We have elderly people, and I look them in the face and I cry. Why should any elderly person in Owerri or somewhere in Anambra should be suffering? Why can't they? Where we have resources, and who kept the resources? Very few of us, governors, ministers, commissioners, and so on and so forth. These are people with no conscience. And I'm sorry, Nigeria can do better. So if we break up, so let me round up. If we break up, that's not going to be new. There's a place called California. California is not in Nigeria. California is the 5th largest economy in America. We can still be Nigeria. Let's go back to where we can do better. We have brains. Look at the collection of people getting. We have scientists. We have virtually everything. Better people than Benzos. We can do more than this, but because of the restriction, because of the contraption of the constitution we are operating, we cannot do anything better. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ituba. Let's hear from Sir Chris Pikwelu. I saw your hands up. Sir Chris, are you still here? Sir Chris Pikwelu Jr. If you're still here, the floor is yours. Hello. Okay, while we are waiting for Sir Chris Pikwelu, let's hear from, I do not see a name, I just see HP. HP, if you're here, I think I'm seeing your hands up. HP?
Yes, thank you. I think for an average Nigerian, the mentality, the way I can see it, is irresponsibility. Nigerians are an average person in Nigeria is very irresponsible. And these groups that calls for a snap change, a snap quick fix. Okay, let's change the constitution. Let's reconstitute everything, and everything will become hunky-dory. They're acting in the most irresponsible manner. I mean, how can you just wake up one day and start changing constitutions and bringing in a new one and believe that, okay, from there, everything will become okay? The Fulanese has dominance today. They didn't do it by snap changes. They were deliberate in their pursuit for political dominance in Nigeria. And if people are so lame and so submissive to think that, okay, that the Fulanese are better politicians than they are, I mean, that is, to me, unconscionable. Why wouldn't our people learn how to do politics? Why wouldn't us learn how to pursue a long-term objectives politically? Nigeria as a country is a great country. Why want to, okay, snap it up, okay, change here, change there, quick fix there, and everything will be okay? It doesn't happen that way. It doesn't work like that. Life doesn't go in straight lines. Life goes in circles, and there's a lot of gray areas in life. So we should buckle down and stop distracting people and get people to focus on politics. Nigeria is not going to break. We better buckle down and have a long-term plan, a long-term objective in terms of how we're going to change Nigeria in bringing equity and justice to everyone in Nigeria, not just to our own little ethnic group, as if once we have done that, everything will become sweet and honey. No, it doesn't work like that. We have to think holistically in terms of changing the whole Nigeria, bringing justice and equity to everyone in Nigeria, not just our own little ethnic minority. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mazi Okoye. Let's hear from Chibi. Chibi, if you are here, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you so much. Well, whenever I hear people talk about, the Constitution, talk about splitting the country, talk about political leadership is the only problem we have, I laugh, because it does appear to me that these people don't understand the enormity and complexity of the problem that we Africans, especially Nigerians, have. Okay? If you change the Constitution without changing the people, nothing is going to work. Somebody talked about the Constitution being fraudulent. I've heard it so many times, when the Constitution is not even implemented at all. How does that work? You see, the problem is that we have a mass of people that are very poorly educated. Ignorance is on rampage in Nigeria. Everybody's an expert. Everybody has, has a professional background in everything. The moral decadence is so bad, So we need to overhaul Nigerians, not constitution. And let me tell you why. A lot of Nigerians, the leaders, the led, they don't understand how things should work and what can be done to change Nigeria. That's why they always talk about the easy way out. Change the constitution, change the country, divide it into 30. It has never worked in Africa, and it's not going to work in Nigeria. Come on. 20 years from now, we'll still be talking about the same thing. So my suggestion, and if we don't do this, we're going to continue to talk about this in the next 100 years. Get people who are knowledgeable to man every post, whether it is elected, public office. A lot of people who are thieves and criminals, who are civil servants, they complain about leadership every day. Okay, there are a lot of very young talent, Nigerian talents living outside the country. They know how to fix things. Get them down to fix Nigeria. If we don't do that, there are so many other companies. If you don't do that, we're going to continue to talk about this thing. It's not about constitution. It's not about changing Nigeria. It's not about all these suggestions. They're not going to change anything. We are who we are. This is Africa, and we need to think about how we can change. Changing mindset, changing our mentality is not going to work. It's not going to work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sakris Sikwelu, if you're here, the floor is yours. Sakris? Please, if you have spoken and you do not...
I'm not sure Chris is still here.
Okay, if he's no longer here, remember that the topic for this discussion is saving Nigerians from Nigeria, and we are trying to provide solutions, not just abstract theory, not just generic views. We're trying to provide actual practical solutions in order to save Nigerians from Nigeria. And let me just summarize what the previous speakers have said. We've heard of balkanization, we've heard of restructuring the entire constitution, and we've also heard people preaching technocrats start getting involved in political practices. I think this is a summary of what the previous speakers have said. Now let's hear from Felix Oti. Felix Oti, please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity. See, I like to listen to our people vent their frustration on the state of Nigeria today. It's always interesting. But unfortunately, what I have not seen or read anywhere is a written down solution or idea as to how to go about effecting this change. Because when you look at it, let's take, for example, yesterday, there was a local government election in Lagos State and maybe one or two other states. I was on the phone for 3 hours monitoring what is going on. The same nonsense as before. The so-called futures of Nigeria, the same group of people that are the worst hit economically, socially, and everything, were the ones helping affluent politicians manipulate the system in the favor of their masters. Now, like the last person spoke, there used to be a commercial in Nigeria that is of very good interest. It says, change begins with me. If you don't change as a person, Nigeria will never change. We can all speak all the grammar we want. We can all preach good governance, quote Europe, quote America. I've been in America for 35 years. I know the system. I know how it works. The same thing that happens in Nigeria happens here. It's just that it's legalized, period. Now, if you want to change Nigeria, begin by changing yourself. If you want to see a new constitution, please write one. In 2002, I embarked on the tobacco bill and the freedom of information bill. The first thing I did when I got to Nigeria was collect the names of all the 360 members of the rep, their phone numbers, the phone numbers of the assistants, and all the 109 senators. It took me 3.5 years. It took much longer than that to get an FOI bill passed. And I didn't do it alone, God knows. And the tobacco bill passed. If you want to see change in Nigeria, commit to it. Forget the grammar. Commit to it. Have a focus. The first police reform, 25,000 naira a month police bill. I know how much it cost me when Chief SNOKK was still alive. In time and money and effort. Go back and look into that. The first approval was 25,000 naira a month as salary. Whatever it is now, I don't know. But it took me 3.5 years and a lot of people and a lot of phone calls and a lot of money to achieve one thing. So please, my brothers and sisters, we all want a good Nigeria. We all want a good government, but do not just speak about it, walk it, make the sacrifice. I left 3 little children in America and went to Nigeria and spent 3.5 years because I wanted to see one thing. That's it. That time, Sonny Rabo he had a TV program. I told him I wasn't coming. I didn't come to Nigeria to show up on television. I came to attack British America Tobacco when they were building some factory in Oyo State. We eventually reached a deal. Okay, if you're not gonna stop it, build a good clinic that those who will be sick in the 10, 20 years in that community will use. Either Menakai or whatever, I can't remember his name, was Commissioner for Health or Minister for Health. I reached out to him and explained to him the consequences of the approval of this BAT. That time, every other country was shutting down BAT factories. So please, my people, whatever change you want, be that change, work it. Don't just preach it and expect some rosy future for Nigeria. It doesn't work like that. Thank you.
Okay, I still see is the
Thank you very much. I just want to respond to what Chibi and Felix just said. Chibi talked about the need for educated people. You should need to have educated people in government, and it will help address issues. It doesn't work that way. The government of Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida had more professors as ministers than I think any other government in this world, and it came out an abysmal failure. Regarding to what Felix just alluded to, that Nigerians need to have proposals and say exactly what they want or be committed. Nigerians are very committed to this change. There have been documents written about restructuring and what it means and renegotiating Nigeria. It's just that those in government who are benefiting from the scam called Nigeria are not interested in that change. So what do? We are getting to the stage where one of the resorts will be to violence, because it's becoming stifling. It's becoming like a noose on the necks of Nigeria. Nigeria is actually suffocating Nigerians. And that is why recently we saw the NSAS explosion, where people went on the streets, almost crazy, frenzied by the system. So Nigerians are doing their best. It is easier to speak from outside that people are not doing what they should do. But my dear, people are actually risking their lives, even speaking out in Nigeria, talking about issues, talking about this change. But we have a system that is in place that benefits from this scam, and they don't want to change. In Nigeria's case, we should not do away or fail to realize that there may be external influences in continuing to maintain the Nigerian contraption as it is. Because there are some forces out there who feel better off with the country as big as it is. They are looting the resources from the country, and nobody's asking, because they have their cronies in high offices. This is an African malaise, an African disease, not just in Nigeria. It's happening in Angola, it's happening in Congo, DRC. So we should not forego the fact that there may be external influences which are hell-bent on keeping Nigeria as is, because they are benefiting tremendously from it. So what we are up against is not just against those factors and those forces within our country who want this contraction to be as it is, but also against external forces which want it to continue the way it is. And Lomba is smiling. One of those forces, like Nigerians even know, in the British High Commissioner in Nigeria spent more than 2 months transversing Nigeria, telling everybody that Nigeria is better as one. She should shut up.
Thank you.
I think by
Can I talk, please?
Yes, go ahead.
I think just as I said, we have all these things.
So, I mean, those are the kind of forces and factors we should realize we are also up against. And this is reality. Unless we want to blind ourselves to those realities, Nigerians are doing their very best. Nigerians are even living subhuman existence, trying to tolerate, trying to avoid stepping down into the abyss of violence. But as things are going on, we may definitely get in there. Felix, I don't know because the issue of tobacco, you mentioned tobacco, let me just address you on that issue. I have been part of efforts to get the tobacco bill in place for more than 12 years. So don't just think that because you came in one day and then got it passed, then it was somebody who did it. No. We took over 3 sessions, right from the time of Gali Umanaba Saint as the Speaker of the House of Reps, until when, if not for Mamora, the current Deputy Minister of Health, who was in the Senate and who became a champion for the cause of tobacco control, it would have been very difficult to pass the bill when it was passed. So Nigerians are doing their very best. We have documents in writing, but we have a system, both internally and with external pressures, which are sworn to maintain this scam called Nigeria. And we have to do our possible best to remove this scourge from us, because Nigeria has become a scourge that all Nigerians have to work seriously against so that we can prosper. Not even the Fulanis are suffering so much from this contraption. I'm telling you, the Fulani, we should not generalize and abuse a particular race.
Yeah, let's stop rehashing the problem. Let's stop rehashing the problem. Let's move on to the solution.
Can we talk?
We should not lampoon the Fulanese.
He has spoken enough, please.
With the problems.
He has spoken enough. Let us talk, please. He has spoken enough.
Please, I'm back. I can hear you. I am back. Please forgive my network. I was having a bit of network issue. I can see Akumakalu Unjoku. I can see Unjoku raising up his hand. Unjoku?
Yes. I want to urge us, please, to make sure we concentrate on finding the root cause. Britain, do we have anybody who can really penetrate the British government and tell them to do something about this? They started it, and the correction should come from them. The Fulani will listen to them. The Buhari will listen to them. Let's try it and stop talking about this, do this and do that. It doesn't help. Let's focus on the external source that Uche is talking about. Please, thank you very much.
Please, can I talk?
It's something that will contribute to the discussion, to let the external forces in charge, instrumental to what is happening to us, come in. Let's discuss that. And otherwise, we are really wasting time.
Yes.
Go ahead, Dr. Mweziwe.
Okay. You see, I don't normally like people to try to be more papa than the Pope himself. I don't know why the other man will bring about Fulani suffering. We have laid-down problems here in Nigeria, which most of you outside Nigeria do not understand because you don't feel it. Presently, you see, there is insecurity everywhere. Even the police themselves are insecure that any matter of insecurity you take to the police will be treated with utmost levity. Internationally, the other time I was at Addis Ababa airport, I met about 15 Nigerians sent back from Mozambique and Angola. They were going to South Africa. They wanted to transit through Mozambique. They stopped them from entering with no reason. Most countries can no longer accept Nigerian passports for visas. So we are not just talking about our internal problems. Internationally, we have turned into a pariah state. And what are the problems?
This section of the program, Dr. Mweziwe, yes, this part of the problem is finding solution, not rehashing the problem. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. First of all, we have left the falconer and we're chasing the falcon itself. Who are the falconers? But if we are ready today, we have senators, we have members of House of Assembly, we have members of House of Representatives, we have ministers, we have governors, especially those in Abuja. They visit home. often and on. And we go to them, we greet them, and they give us handouts. And these are the people who decide our future. These are the people who are unaffected by the inherent chaos looming in our country. Until our people decide to hold those people representing us responsible, there will be no change. Look at the case of Southeast. Here we are talking about petroleum bill and that. How many of them? Some abstain, some abstain. And these are the people who are crying marginalization. And when they abstain from voting in the Senate, the people did not do anything. I don't think that should have happened in Yoruba land.
Dr. Nwezigwe, solutions. What is the solution?
The solution is, first of all, hold your representative responsible. There are people you elected. Have you carried for one day, demonstrated before your senator's house or before the member of your house? Have you at any time written a letter of recall, threatening them for recall? They don't do that.
Can you hear me?
So we must start by holding those people we send they are responsible first. If they cannot represent, if they cannot face the fact of our sufferings, then let them pull back. But as long as we allow them to enjoy all the privileges of their offices, all the protection, and they will be singing, Buhari did this, Fulani did this, bandits, there will be no change. Because those who are supposed to be our mouthpiece, those who are supposed to be our source for action, are there unaffected, they're there unchallenged. We cannot make any move. So let us, even the Bible is very, very clear. Judgment shall begin from my own house. Let us begin to look inwards. Those who are representing us, let us come out boldly and hold them responsible. By the time we hold them responsible, we will now talk about who is President Buhari, who are the ministers, who are whatever. Because these are the people selling us. These are the people causing the main problem to us. If the whole Southern senators had abstained from voting the petroleum bill or voting anti-electronic transmission, anti-electoral electronic transmission, if they had staged a walkout, I don't think that bill should have passed. But they were there.
All right, let's listen to someone else because our time is going. Let's call John Azo, please. Thank you, Dr. Nwezigwe.
You are skipping me. I've been raising up my hand.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Please go ahead while we're waiting for John Azu. But you have to be fast because our time is fast spent.
I promise.
Okay.
Yeah. Can I go on?
Please go ahead.
Yes. The only problem I have here is I don't know how best to explain this to some people who still believe that the contracted Nigerian constitution is working for everybody. It's not working for us. It's not working for Nigeria because there's so many restrictions. We'll be talking about that. Why is it so difficult for some Nigerians to understand that constitution of the country is more or less that the papers that will enable and disable. We don't have a situation where people can be able. We're talking of our representatives. An average, I don't know about East. An average representative in the South is 1 million budget. 60% of it will go to talks. You cannot go to the South and protest. They will kill you or they maim you.
Okay, Otuba, remember we are talking about solutions to this problem.
The solution is to change the constitution. Yeah, solution is to change the constitution as it is. Let's get more people. Let it be the constitution be tear apart and be written right from scratch. Make it people's constitution, not the way as it is. The constitution as it is will continue to enable
thank you.
The terrible people among us.
Okay, thank you very much, Otuba. Let's hear from John Azu. John Azu, I can see your hand up. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. I would like to look at the solution because I'm wondering here why some people make suggestions that are abstract, esoteric to my own, if you may like, when they are saying that
there should be more educated people in governance. It's, to me, it's just abstract. You know that it is difficult to even get in. You know that the value systems of the various components is not the same. There is a wide gap in value orientation in the country. There is serious dissonance, serious disconnect between the North and the South and the East and the West. It is even education that is bringing us together, but yet that cannot be denied that there exists such gaps. Therefore, for somebody to begin to say, "Oh, you don't need to touch the Constitution" and all that, look at what Karl Marx said. He said that it is not the consciousness of men that determines their being, but on the contrary, their social being that determines their consciousness. So it is the superstructure, it is the environment within which you put an individual, or you put that intellectual, that he functions. If you put him in the forest, in the bush, it will be difficult for such a person to function. And as it stands today, Nigeria is not providing that environment which will energize the citizens, which will erupt the potentials of the country. Therefore, I stand with those who have spoken on the need for a new constitutional order, for a new constitution to birth a new Nigeria that we dream of. And how do we do this? How do we do this? I also want to stand on the submission by one of the speakers that we should look beyond Nigeria. I don't think we can get this solution internally. No, we have to look outside. When Israel had the same challenge, the Jewish community around 1905, when the Zionist movement was at its peak, they looked to Europe, they looked to the West, and the people like Theodor Herzl were able to garner Western support to create a homeland for the Jewish people. What we are looking at is here, we want indigenous people for their voices to be projected to the global community, to understand that the status quo, the center, is not holding in Nigeria. And the international community hold it as their own self-preservation, as their own self-interest to provide a workable system of Nigeria. They should pay more attention. If you look at global news, CNN, Al Jazeera, they don't even talk about what is going on in Nigeria. Do you know that as we are talking presently, there is a light war going on in the Southeast? Do you know that just 3 days ago on Friday, some people shot some policemen dead and soldiers went on the rampage? The people came out with rifles, they were shooting. This is happening almost like weekly basis in the Southeast. The very riotous situation have been curbed, but we still see these small drops of violence still going on. So we need the international community to pay more attention to Nigeria, and that is why those who are even saying whether we are ready for 2023 are really they are being clairvoyant. They are being foresighted, because we must put our house in order before we even go into the 2023 election. Because even the people they are projecting, even the names we hear, I'm sorry to say, this value dissonance makes it difficult to even select good quality leaders. Look at the people they are calling. These people cannot give up. We cannot move an inch from where we are. We cannot have accountable leadership. We cannot have rule of law. We cannot have good governance under the helmsmen of these people they are calling. I don't want to mention them, but it is appalling that groups are coming up to say, oh, they sign agreement to hand over. These people are not credible. But we cannot do anything. If you do anything, you have to face the bullets. So we want the international community. I stand with Chief Carlo, who said that the international community must step in. It has gotten to the level they must step in, look into Nigeria, and see how we can build a harmonious resolution of this situation. We don't want to fight war, but it is getting to the peak. So they have to come in. You people in the West, you should look at it as an emergency. Don't just be talking about, oh, educated people should take over, they change the mind of the black man. Even the white man here, they cannot exist properly here because they are afraid of security. They are afraid of their own. They're not free also when they come here. But we can get it right if they look into this country, report what is happening, force it on the leaders through pressures, through subtle diplomacy, to review the constitution, to review the status quo, and build and entrench appropriate governance as it is in all those countries. Then Nigeria will erupt as one of the best countries in the world. So this is my own view. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think we are going to just take the last comments for today from Mazi Okoye. You are going to be our last comment because our time is fast spent and we would soon have to round up. Mazi Okoye, the floor is yours.
Thank you again. Let me just make an obvious statement. No country in this world started with a perfect constitution. And as far as, the facts are there, no country still has a perfect constitution. So when people say, okay, that we have to, bring this constitution down and then enact a new one and everything will be okay, in the process, dividing the country willy-nilly, as if that will be this problem solver. I don't think it will be. The problem solver is long-term and is difficult. It's a difficult problem to solve, but that problem has to be solved politically, not any other way. You cannot look any other way to solve it, but politically. If people want change, get into organizations, political organizations, super PACs, buckle down, think seriously and focus on politics